guys, minions, and welcome to Unmade Gaming. We are back for another one of our monthly Q&A sessions. This is called Ask Lich. This is our, 10, 11, 12, some number of episodes. If you've seen them live, great. If you have not seen them live, I promise you they are all coming out on YouTube. They're all scheduled up through May, and they should all be out before the middle of July. So this one should be coming out in the middle of July, I believe. This is number 10, G says. Yeah, a huge shout out to G for going through and scrubbing the previous videos for the timestamps, so that it makes it easier on the second time or first time watchers when they're not live. All the videos of the Ask Lich Q&A show will have timestamps for all the questions asked. And G has been so kind to go ahead and grab those timestamps for me and make it 1,000 times easier for me to get these scheduled. Yeah, I notice in the timestamps that G has been coining the top of the show as the State of the Grave. And if you're unaware, the State of the Grave is a little video / blog that I write on Patreon that basically recaps what we did for the year and talks about what the current state of things is and what future plans are. And that is it's a pretty good name for what we do in the beginning of these episodes. So I'm going to take that and run with it. That's how I'm going to start every one of these. What is new? What's new in the land of Unmade Gaming? Well, as everyone knows, we're on a hiatus at the moment. We have no weekly streams. Obviously, we still have our Patreon campaign, The Rise. We have our other Patreon campaign, Mundus Novus. We have our monthly Patreon one-shots. So we're pretty stacked up on the weekends there. We're still rocking with Atari, Twilight, Age of Always. And then I have 2 private games that I'm running off of Start Playing Games, which is Crystal Legacy, a D&D 5e Final Fantasy inspired world, and one we just started, which is called Between the Wasteland and Sky, which is a heavily like Cowboy Bebop, Firefly, Trigun, Outlaw Star inspired space setting, which is at this moment currently using Monty Cook's Cypher system, The Stars Are Fire, to run that. And then I'm running 2 home games. I'm running a Tales from the Loop game in my homebrew setting of Glenbrook called Glenbrook Liminality, and I'm running another a home game of D&D 5e's Phandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk, which is going pretty poorly for the players, but great for me. What else? Oh, I've finally started making progress on the office that I told everyone that I was going to build when I moved into my house in 2021. It's only 2024. My dad and I should be knocking out the rest of the framing tomorrow night. The framing and hopefully the door. But either way, we're knocking out the framing tomorrow night, and then Wednesday I have a buddy of mine who's an electrician who was an electrician stopping by to give me some advice on where to place certain things. And then I will be hiring an electrician if I can get them in before I leave for military duty in the middle of July. That would be sick. But if not, I will be getting them back. I will be getting them to come back when I come back in August. Speaking of August, I need to move my ass on this. I believe in August we're going to have our first show back on the channel. We are going to be running a Vaesen game, and it is going to be run by Leah, who I believe is Forge Princess Leah, on the Twitters. Or if you're G and you want to cross your hands in front of your face and say X, one of those 2 things. Sorceress Sundries, that's what it is. Yes, she will be running some Vaesen. I'll be playing in that. It's my first time playing Vaesen. And I believe we're doing one of the modules from one of the books. I don't remember which one. But I'm very excited. It's my first time playing Vaesen, so that'll be very cool. And I'm currently working on a little mini campaign that will more than likely be recorded. Recorded, not streamed, and then quickly edited and posted of a new game using Powered by the Apocalypse, a very modified Powered by the Apocalypse from what I've heard so far. That is called I'm gonna mess this up. Hold on, wait a minute. It's called something. I have so many thoughts in my head that I forgot the name of the actual Starscape. I wanted to say Starstruck, and that was wrong. Starscape, which is created by Kimmy from she owns Golden Lasso Games, and she's also like some level of in charge of Happy Jack's network, which is very cool. But they are creating this game. It'll be launching on Kickstarter, I believe, in early July. So I'm trying to get something cool done for that. And everything I've seen about it, I like it, which means I'll probably be running a campaign in that in the fall. Expect to see that. And then also in the fall, coming in September, I want to say like September 12th or September 15th, one of those 2 days. Let's find out. September... I don't know, 12th? Could be. Definitely not the 15th. Either way, in September is when Atari Midnight comes back. Our 6th season of Atari Twilight. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy stuff. Other than that, I don't think we have anything super hardcore planned. I have something planned with Brandy, but that is on hiatus until we know more about some stuff. Yeah, so I think that's our current plan of where we are, of what we're doing. I did just get a reviewer copy, a digital copy of the Mines of Moria expansion for the One Ring, so that's pretty exciting. And I did randomly just get a package upstairs that is the full game and the full expansion of Mutant Year Zero Zone Wars, which is like the actual like tabletop miniature war game for Mutant Year Zero, which I don't really play board games really, and I don't play miniature war games ever. I've never played one, and I'm excited to fuck around with it. I'm gonna fuck around and find out. That's for sure. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I got going on. Yeah, Cinda and I have my girlfriend and I have just been cleaning the yard. It's been beautiful here. So we're cleaning up the yard, getting the backyard situated because it's, going to be 4th of July and all that fun stuff. Yeah, we have Dave from Nerdarchies coming up here for a couple days. Going to hang out, chillax, do some gaming. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's check in here. Void, Chris, hello. How are you? G, hello. Melissa, I saw you in there. Hello. Lectu, hello. Hello. As the kids say. Let's see. After Twitch versus YouTube, blah, 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 blah. All right. I'm doing some software wars. Yeah. Yes, we have to get the JD session booked for Age of Always. Greg, mine is in there. My schedule's in there. Greg is waiting on Bacon to put his in there. I don't know what Bacon's doing. He said he did it, but it didn't go so well. So we'll see. All right, as a that's enough. That's enough of that. That's enough of the housekeeping. Well, I guess while we're here, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is over on our Patreon, patreon.com/automatedgaming. Go check that out. You get all kinds of behind the scenes exclusives, our after shows. I've recently been posting campaign diaries, recapping my home games and some of the start playing games. Pro GM games that I've been doing, so you get to see some behind the scenes non-streamed games recapped there, as well as early access to blogs, which as we are getting these videos put up on YouTube, I am starting to write blogs again based on some of the cues I have aid here. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff over on our Patreon. And keep your eyes peeled. People move around, and sometimes we get new open slots for our one-shots and our campaigns and stuff. So check it out. That's the best way to support the channel. The second best way is becoming a YouTube member. I know Twitch is a better, chat system, but they suck at monetization. So go join us on YouTube and join us over there. Yeah, that's really it. Join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. And with that, let's jump in to some questions. Where do I want to start today? I'm going to start randomly. G asks, Mike, that's me. How are you? I'm all right. Yeah, this week is finals week for my summer class. I have my final on Friday. I just had an exam today. I have my final on Friday. I definitely think I'm behind on like 3 homework assignments, so I should probably do those. But he also kind of said that homework assignments don't really count as points. So like, do I care? We'll see. Yeah, so that's, I'm doing all right. I got that wrapping up this week. The second summer class starts up in beginning of July, I want to say. And then mid-July, I'm headed out for military training up in upstate New York. And that's really it. Because we're on hiatus of shows, I'm taking this time to like kick ass in the house. Like we've really been like taking care of the yard and all kinds of other stuff and doing a lot of cool stuff with the kiddo. He's going to start summer camp the week after 4th of July, which is crazy. He's going to do half-day summer camp, and then while I'm gone for military duty, he's going to do full-day summer camp, which is also crazy. So that's fun. What the hell else? Yeah, it was Father's Day yesterday. I just went on a boat ride. My parents put the boat in the water, and we went a little zoom in the lake. That was fun. Had some tacos. It was a good time. But other than that, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty okay. I think the lack of structure because of the lack of streaming is kind of like leaving my time open-ended, and because my time is so open-ended, I can take stock of all the things I have to do, which is overwhelming. And it occasionally is causing little minor spurts of burnout. But I've been sort of taking breaks as needed. Also, I've been diving really hard into V Rising. Obviously, I can't play as many games on PC as I used to be able to, which will be changing. But I have it on PS5, and I've been diving into that game. Very fun. Also unrelated, but I have like all of my overlays and stuff named in OBS, and I have a bunch of other things, other places named things, and I remembered this one is called Arise and Grind, and I just used the old Arise and Grind overlay for that. But I was just thinking, if we're trying to put my son in private school, and we're on a wait list currently, but if he gets in school in September, and I don't have morning classes, conceivably, I could restart a Rise and Grind, a little morning show, a little wake up and chill morning show. Wake up and vibe. A Rise and Grind, yeah. There's just a thought, just a minor thought, if anyone would be interested. I have no idea what a Rise and Grind used to be, but I have no idea what it could be. So yeah, it would just be me waking up and cracking a monster and being awake at I don't know 8 a.m. I think that's when class starts. Whatever time I get home from dropping my kid off at school. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Chris is here, and he asked some questions. The first of which is, how do you find using the stars and wishes mechanic has helped drive narratives? It's okay. It's less the whole stars and wishes mechanic. I think the stars part is cool, right? I think that's just cool. I think it opens the floor and welcomes positive feedback at the table, which I think is nice, right? I think it's nice because not every table has that. And there are times where, like, you as a player or you as a GM do something and you're not confident about it and no one says anything and you're like, okay, well, maybe that sucked. Or there's times where, like, I've done something where I'm like, this is going to be awesome and no one says anything. And I'm like, well, was it or was it not? But encouraging that open communication at the end of the episode kind of, you know, I hate to use the word encouraging again in the same sentence, but it encourages the players and the GM and whoever's at the table to say what they thought was cool. And I guess if I were to use that going forward, it's like, if you think something is cool, do more of that. Within reason, right? Like, if you thought that the combat, having not just combat, but also like a secondary motive and also phantasmic terrain, you know, do more shit like that, right? If you thought the very heart-wrenching roleplay moment was cool, we can do more of those, right? If you thought the descriptions were cool, do more descriptions. But like, whatever your players think are cool, that's what they want to see. Like, that's what they're enjoying the most out of the game. So it's good to see what you liked, so I can tailor the game to be more things that you like, and less things that you don't like, right? But for me as the GM, and I think that's good. Sorry, I think that's good for everybody, right? Because like, getting feedback about something as a player from a player is also very cool, and it can also encourage you to do more, like silly accents or like do things outside of, like, having done something outside your comfort zone be validated by someone else, especially another player. I think is a very powerful thing. But for me as the GM, wishes is my jam. Wishes are bullet points. They're bullet points that I have them listed out either in a written document, in one of my million notebooks, or in the Google Drive document that I'm prepping notes in. And wishes are quite literally, what do you as the player want to see in the next coming episodes? And then I do that. Right. So helping to drive narratives is that's like, I use wishes as a 1-to-1. For the most part. You know, I want to see how this action resolves. Like, let me see. Do I have... I'm lazy about closing things. Do I have an episode... I don't. I actually closed it. Look at me. Look at me. Who's this guy? Hold on. Bear with me. Patreon. The Rise. Session prep. Spin episode 40. So I will look at the wishes from episode 40 of the Rise, which, spoilers, if you are not a Patreon, this is the kind of content you get. We actually do our Stars and Wishes live, right? So the wishes in the last episode of the Rise, Chris, who plays Korax, wants to find a way to teleport stuff to his temple/library. Great. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way for him to narratively do that makes sense and doesn't sound like GM Ex Machina. But he wants that, so I'm going to make it happen. There's no reason for me to not make that happen. Makes sense for his character. It sounds cool. G, who plays Antares, says she wishes for something to escalate, causing Korax to use the Heart of Gloom. Great. That's awesome. That's awesome. I can create all kinds of things that escalate, causing Korax to use the Heart of Gloom. The Heart of Gloom is an artifact that we're using in that game that basically generates and preys on despair. And Korax, as a character, is being a sad boy right now. But, like, causing other things, causing things to happen to negatively impact Korax, to cause him to rely on this clearly not good artifact. Absolutely something I can work into the next several episodes. Norm, who plays Mina, wants more interactions with the old gods. Currently, Korax is talking to, I won't confirm this, so I will say who he believes to be one of the gods from before the fall of heaven, basically. And also to find out what happened to the survivors of Dawn's Fall. So more interaction with the old gods. I can do that. I can do that without calling them old gods. I can do that without, revealing too much about them or who he's. I think that boils down to, like, he wants more, more more vague conversation with divine beings. And that's very, very easy to do over the next couple episodes. And that also these wishes tie back to the players as well. Like, more interaction with the old gods. Currently, Korax is the only person doing that. So Norm's wish is not just for me, it's also for the players. Like, he wants more of Korax doing that. And anytime Korax does that, that incentivizes me to continue back and forth. And then finding out what happened to the survivors of Dawn's Fall being a town that was destroyed. That's absolutely going to be something that happens over the course of the next arc. Definitely not in the next couple episodes, but at least I don't think so. But definitely more in arc 4, I think we're in. And then lastly, Matt wants, who plays the character Salitz, wants to have a meeting with Banaka Dal, which is a NPC that runs a delving guild, and that's 100% going to happen. That's probably going to happen in the next episode. What I do is I look at this and I say, okay, what drives plot? What drives narrative? What's just fun? And meeting Banaka Dal drives the plot immediately forward. So that's probably going to happen next episode. And then I look at the rest of the things and I go, okay, how can I sprinkle these in here? And then what I actually do is I keep a running list of all the wishes because I cross them out. Like, once I've done the thing, I cross it out. So I crossed them out to be like, yep, we did this. We checked that box. So that is exactly how I use the Stars and Wishes mechanic to help drive narrative. The wishes primarily is literally a request list. I treat it as a to-do list from the players. This is the honey-do list, that your wife gives you. But it's from your players. And I say, yep, this is what I'm going to do with that. Let's put that in there. And as soon as I find a way to work that in a way that it makes sense in the narrative, rather than just be like, jam everything you want in there in the next episode and it kind of feels wonky, I slowly put things in as it feels right. And then occasionally in our after show, I'll call back and say, hey, in episode 20, you wished for this. And yeah, it's episode 42, but we did it. We just did it. We did that thing. Because, 40-something episodes, you're not going to remember all the wishes you made. All right, let's hop over to chat real quick. Fluxpoint, welcome. How are you? Stars is the best part of Stars and Wishes for sure. I do love Stars. I do it with my game. They're getting used to it. It's not something they're used to doing. Yeah, I find most tables are not used to doing it. I actually don't do it at my home tables. Mostly because my home table is my roommate Mike, who's one of my best friends, and my girlfriend and her best friend. I don't know. I just haven't done it. That, and we play till like 10:30 on a Monday night, and I'm exhausted by the end of it. Necro says, yeah, kudos from the other plays is huge. I agree. I failed to get Stars and Wishes to catch with my non-UMG game group. It's a shame. Yeah, it is a challenge. Like I said, I don't use it in my home games, and I don't know why. I also don't use... I do give the 10-minute backstory as an option, but I don't require anyone to do it. And I don't do my full, like, campaign primer that I normally do online at my home game. Mostly it's just a chat group on Facebook Messenger. Yeah. It pulls people out of their comfort zone. Can be hard to get them to do. Yeah, I agree. You don't remember your wishes from episode 39? Well, listen, I can tell you. I keep them running in the document. Episode 39, G said, see a more vulnerable Korax and help Mina process. Chris, you said, find out what the orb is, work out how Mina is going to react. Matt had no wish, and oh no, sorry, that was Norm. Norm was find out what the orb is, and find out how Mina's going to react. And Chris, yours was watch Mina deal with the aftermath. So yeah, kind of did it. You're pretty sure that wasn't your wish? I have them written down. Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. This is a question that is anonymous and definitely not G. Tell us about the characters in your at-home Glenbrook campaign, Boris, Happy, and Joe, and how they are affecting the Unmade Gaming cinematic universe. If you don't know, the Unmade Gaming cinematic universe is something that the Unmade Gaming community has coined the unofficial title of the homebrew collective that I'm working on. Much like, Lovecraft had this, mythic Massachusetts, and King has this mythic, Maine. I have a mythic southern New England, primarily between two places, Glenbrook, a small town in Rhode Island, and New Arkham, a city in Rhode Island, that we play a bunch of Tales from the Loop in, and currently we're playing a Vassin game based in New Arkham in the 1800s, but they're all tied together. It's all one world. So this is my at-home campaign is called Glenbrook Liminality. The players are my girlfriend Cinda, her best friend Vicky, and my best friend Mike. They're playing Boris, Happy, and Joe. And I think we're 5 episodes in, and currently we're dealing with a little bit of Mr. Black and a little bit of the chorus. So the campaign basically started where the kids, they have a library hideout that is like the attic from Neverending Story. So they have an attic area above the library. That's their cool hideout. They went to an antique shop called Curious Curios, or a secondhand shop called Curious Curios, which is 100% based on Needful Things. They found some strange devices, kind of unique to all 3 of them. One was a puzzle box, one was a book, and one was a weird technological contraption. And only 2 of the kids purchased theirs. And they didn't purchase them with money, they purchased them with, weird esoteric, tell me a secret or give me your happiest moment kind of things. And then they began to decipher these weird things. They went into this weird, not the liminal space we've seen in Glenbrook Unhallowed, but a different kind of blank white space. And they found a weird tree that they went inside of. And there's a bunch of weird dreams that they're having. And they just went to the same place as the kids in the Chronicles one-shots had gone a week after they had gone there. So the Chronicles kids went there, and then a week later, the Liminality kids went there to a observatory, and they basically got a repeat message of what the Chronicles kids got, where they interacted with four new members of the chorus, and in doing so, Joe, my girlfriend's character, kind of went into a seizure. She freaked out and kept repeating this phrase over and over again, and at the end of the episode she got taken to the hospital. So yeah, they're currently interacting with the chorus and Mr. Black, not together, they're 2 independent situations happening. And then also in episode 4, in episode 3 they went into this weird tree, and episode 4 started with them in like the dreamlands, like in a dream, like in a shared, like they were passing through each other's dreams kind of thing, and then they woke up in the future. They woke up in the future, and as there was like a note from themselves to themselves, and then they tried to leave the building they were in, and they all woke up in their regular timeline. So now they are aware that something's going to happen that they need to prepare for in the future, which is cool because now if they don't prepare for it in the same way as their future selves had already prepared for it, they will then create a weird time paradox, which is fun. So time paradoxes, weird, ethereal beings of power, and strange eldritch monstrosities. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. They haven't really affected the greater Omega Gaming cinematic universe yet. They're still in the discovery phase, but it is allowing me to like play around with the chorus and play around with Mr. Black and get more comfortable with them and add more weird eccentricities to the town. So that'd be very cool. Let's see. The official UMG cinematic universe is the name, unless we are in a different universe. That is okay. All right, sure. Yes, that the white space. So the liminal spaces are inherently just an area between areas. Like a hallway is a liminal space, a doorway is a liminal space. I like the idea of liminal spaces being weird. Like if you've ever been in like a well-lit building and then there's like I used to work at a place that we had like a very well-lit like office cubicles and everything like that, and then next to it was another area full of cubicles, but you could go outside and around, or you could go through this weird creepy hallway that like it was very horror movie. Like it was leaky and there was like always puddles on the floor and the lights didn't work well, like they flashed on and off, and occasionally there was like a random cable hanging out of the ceiling. So walking from one building to the next building through this corridor was just really gross and weird. But so like that level of weird and uncomfortableness is what I like with liminal spaces. So in Glenbrook Unhallowed, we've seen a liminal space, which I call the in-between. Which is the black liminal space that is like sort of indicative of memory and thought projection and death is kind of that. Whereas this white liminal space is so far it's about like weird esoterics and creative. So it's like it's meant to be like a blank page, whereas like the in between, I feel like it's like what happens. It's like what happens to your DVD player when you take the DVD out. Like it's still a DVD player, but it's not currently playing anything. So it's kind of like this holding space. That's kind of what I process the in-between as. Is it's kind of like a weird holding space between here and there. Whereas the white space is like a space for creative stuff. Yeah, those are the kinds of weird, my internal theory crafting. The in-between is like not like a way station, just like it has like the memories of things that have happened or the things that will happen, kind of. If that makes any less sense. I think in your recap you call it the liminal space, so I assumed it was the same place Mac went to. No, Mac went to the in-between, and I don't have a name for the white space yet. Has the increased interaction with Mr. Black helped you with the documenting of him in the universe? No, we haven't really had increased interaction with him. We had a moment where they met him in his store, and that was really it. And then we had an off-camera moment where like the kids had gone to the white space, and they didn't get to where I wanted them to go before they were like, we can't figure this out, and then turned around. And then as they left, we had like the camera cut over to an area, and Mr. Black came out of said area, and said, "Oh, I thought they would have gotten this far." So like he kind of has this weird overview of things. Like he knows more than he should, and he knows more than he lets on. Yeah, so he hasn't been. He's not doing a whole lot yet. Yeah, he's more of a planner and a get other people to doer kind of guy. Yeah, wow. I feel like we're having some in-depth questions here, and we're not cooking through as many questions as I thought. Let's see where what's a fun fact that no one asked for? The fuck. That's a quickie. G asks, "What's a fun fact about you that no one asked for?" I said it was a quickie because it's a short question. I don't know. What is a fun fact about me that no one asked for? I was in competitive chorus. That's a fun fact. I competed nationally in singing competitions and won. Not like individually, but like as a choir. I've been to several different countries. I don't know. I once threw up after eating octopus. That's a fun fact. Yeah. I have a scar on my hand from a self-made zip line, trying to impress a girl when I was, I don't know, 12. I have a little scar on my wow, I forgot, on my left hand. I don't know if you can't see it on the camera, but I have a little circular scar right here. We made a zip line, which is we tied a vinyl rope, like it was a plasticky rope, from one tree to another tree, and we took a thick stick and like worked a groove in it, and we would zip line down. And there's no brakes; you just smash into a tree. It absolutely worked. The scar on my hand is because I was on it, and a girl who I liked at the time was looking at me, and I slipped. And so instead of riding on the groove of the stick, it went down, and I was riding between the stick and my hand. And it was probably like a good 25, 30 feet of rope that I just rode straight down on my hand, to the point where like I could see things moving when I moved my finger, but it was like rope burned so bad that it like cauterized the wound, so it like didn't bleed. And now I just have a perfectly circular scar on my hand. Yeah, so I don't know if she was impressed. I don't know. I don't remember. That was 20 some odd years ago. But there's your fun fact. Lek2 asks, was there ever a moment when your players caught you by surprise and made you emotional? Short answer, no. No. I am usually the arbiter of emotional stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been... so here's what I'll say. So the short answer is no. As a GM, no. But there have been other times where, like, fellow players have had an emotional moment that have gotten me a little bit. There's also been times where I did not expect to have an emotional reaction, and then all of a sudden did have one. I think like the first time I ever like shed a tear on camera was like way back when I first started streaming, and we were playing a Adventures in Middle Earth D&D 5e version of the One Ring. That's what I call One Ring 1.5. And I was playing a ranger, and the rest of the players couldn't make it to that episode. It's just me and one other player, so we did a flashback of my character, and the other player played my character's father. And like I'd like written the episode. I was like, hey, this is what it's going to be about. We're going to do this. But like obviously I didn't like write what the other person was going to say. But I was like, here's the plot of the one shot. And yeah, and then we got pretty hard into like my dad was dying territory, and yeah, and then I got choked up about it. There are absolutely times when like I'm watching because I run production for Age of Always. I'm not actually on the screen, but I have the screen up and I'm listening to it. There's times where I'm like, oof, you got me with that one. So I get caught in the crossfire sometimes. But no, usually if I'm the player, if I'm the GM, I am usually the one pulling on the emotional heartstrings. Um, yeah. Um, G says that question was a segue into Chris's other question. So Chris says, Necro says, if of all the other, so wow, of all the times you have made your players emotional, is there a time that you are most proud of? Specifically, of all the times you've made G cry in a game, which one is your favorite? Um, for the G part of the question, I think I think it has to be the Wexy moment. Like, if I'm not mistaken, G was a sniffling mess. I was pretty proud of that. Like G retreated it into one corner of the camera so you could barely see her, and like she pulled her sleeves up, eyes were red, and you could just hear every once in a while. Yeah, it was definitely that was a very good tearjerker, and I'm pretty sure that G was an emotional mess, and it was not okay for the rest of the session, and then was not okay for the after show. Yeah, I was pretty proud of that. It was a pretty good one. That one got in there. That one dug in deep. I think that one actually. I think Norm actually cried. Norm shed a tear or two on that one. That was a big one. Um, of all the times you've made your players emotional, is there a time you were most proud of? Yes. Yeah. Well, oh shit. That's the thing. It's my players. No, I think that would probably be the best one of the best ones. I think. But I think one of my favorite moments is uh, I I lost it in an episode. Like I think I'm fairly certain I held it together. But like if I go back and rewatch that episode, that part of that episode, I still get choked up about it. There is I want to say it's the final episode of season 1 of um, 6 and 20 Metropolis on the channel. Here's all I'll say is it is Greg's exit from the show. It is the final episode of that season. It is Greg's exit from the show, and I could not have written a more perfect exit. And I absolutely cried. 100% cried. There was parts where I struggled to get the words out to complete the role play. And like I said, going back now, I still get emotional when I watch that episode. Yeah, I hope that answers that question there for you. Let's see. What else do we got? Iquin asks, how much character alteration do you usually permit as the story might change? How much character alteration do you usually permit as the story might change them from what the player initially envisioned? 3 sessions in, 8 sessions in, 20 sessions in. Some systems have a clear leveling to change out abilities and such, but my question is geared more towards the free flow ones that might be trickier to change characters after the initial concept. Okay, how do I answer this question in a way that is usable? So right off the bat, I typically have a 3 sessions or level 3 carte blanche. You can change whatever you want, up to and including like your class, like if we're playing that kind of game, because I feel like when you build a character, you're like, okay, this is kind of a cool concept, and you don't really know how it will play. by itself, but also how it will interact with the other characters, also how it will interact with the NPCs. Right off the bat. So like you need a couple of episodes, you need a couple sessions, maybe a couple levels to see if you like the combat, if it's that kind of like if it's like a D&D kind of game. So usually I like three episodes or 3 levels depending on how that goes. And then you can just change whatever you want. My only request is just let me know. Right? You want to swap out spells, you want to swap out abilities, just let me know. But more towards the free flow ones that may be trickier to change characters after the initial concept. It's less of a how much do I allow, and more of a like we have to sit down and talk. A prime example of that would be in our Mundus Novus campaign. No, yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. In our Mundus Novus campaign, we originally started running it not streamed, and in that campaign was a player named Rose, and Rose is no longer in that campaign. Nothing untoward happened. She just had life shit going on, so she had to bow out. But in the character creation, Rose's character and G's character were sisters, and because Rose had to leave. So much of G's character story was tied intrinsically to Rose's character as they were sisters that no longer made sense in the narrative, and that happened like early in the arc, but we thought they might come back, so it didn't like get changed until midway through the first arc. But that was basically like. G sat down and was like, okay, what do I change from this? And then she told me, and then we bounced a few ideas back and forth. And then we worked together to update and change her character. Sometimes that can kind of happen between seasons, if you run like a seasonal game. For example, if you remember George Butts from season 1 of Atari Twilight to George Butts in season 2 of Atari Twilight, he literally changed his entire playbook. He went from the rich kid, what's the popular kid, to a troublemaker. And in that game, in that sense of the word, he didn't like go back and redo his stats. He kept all the same stats. He just called himself a troublemaker, and then because a lot of like the free league games, once you get past the initial character creation, you do whatever you want. And that's kind of how I play. The only games that I'm restrictive about are the ones that are less free flow. Like D&D. Like usually I kind of lock it in there. But I think this is in reference to our Between the Wasteland and Sky game, right? We're playing a game, a space cowboy western in Monty Cook's Cypher system, and we have several people, almost everyone, no, about half the people, sorry, are new to Cypher system, and Cypher system can be extremely open, but also extremely restrictive. And I think everyone has an idea of who their characters are narratively, but many people, if not all, are struggling to make the mechanics fit the vision. And Iquin is one of those, for sure. Like he's playing a doctor, and there is not a lot of like medical healing stuff. Like in fact, there's only like a couple abilities that let you heal other players in the course of the entire book, and they're from like 3 different sources. So he and I are currently like working through trying to make that work for his character. But yeah, I think I'm far more open to a discussion about how you want to change your character. Like in our Shattered Obelisk, our D&D home game, Mike is playing a Hexblade Warlock and wants to multi-class into Paladin. And like, we've already set up the narrative arc about why and how that happens. But rules as written, he does not have the required strength score to become a Paladin. But fuck that, this is cool. So it's more of just like a, hey, let's sit down and talk about what you want to change, and let me help you facilitate that change, right? What I would say, your question says how much character alteration do you usually permit? If anything, I don't permit like willy-nilly changing your class, changing your character, right? If you want to do it for narrative's sake, if you want to do it for fun's sake, if you want to do it for like, like you're as fun as in you're not having fun with this current build of this character. But I think let's chat about that right now. That doesn't become like me discouraging or encouraging you, but like if you like parts of it, can I help homebrew other parts to shore up the parts you don't like, or do we need to discuss like changing things? For Iquin's character, as I had mentioned, we're looking at like taking healing abilities from other class kind of things and bringing them over to his as a like, hey, you can take this instead of that kind of thing. I'm very happy to homebrew stuff to make players happy with their characters. Yeah, so that's. I hope that answers your question. I'm less about like number of times to alter or like how many sessions in, and more about like let's homebrew some stuff for you. Games like D&D is I usually have like a hard cap on like, hey, if you don't like your class up to level 3, change your class. Like I feel like at level 3 you've played enough of this class to be like, I like it or I don't like it. So that's what you're playing. Either make the change or don't. Chris says, I have that same issue in the Rise. Not much fits the vision at the moment. Well, again, Chris, I mean, we haven't talked about it too much, but let me hit me up and we'll find class options in the books to see if we can switch that around, make some changes there. Snow, I see you popping up in the chat. Hey, Snow, how you doing? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, everyone's confirming that the Wexy scene was sad. G says the Malik and Tamir scene, that was a good one. Season 2 of the Void, of Void, was a very good scene between. I actually had to do research on that one. I actually got choked up on that one too. Like I had like a prepared thing I wanted to say, and I got a little choked up on that one. And the end of Rollout was also very good. I think I got choked up at the end of Rollout 2 with Frags. I think he fucked me up. Yeah, I definitely got choked up somewhere in there, and I can't remember where. Yeah, that was a good one. Do we have a quick queue here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions left on our document. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're the website, what's up? That's weird. If you're a patron, we actually have a Discord channel expressly for Ask Lich, where you guys can ask your questions at any point in time. Obviously, when you're live, you can ask them in the chat. But if you're a patron, you guys can get access to that. Drop questions in there whenever they get added to a document, and then I don't read them until we're live. So I have no idea what we're seeing here. Let's see. That is a lengthy question. That is a lengthy question. That seems a lengthy question. Oh, that's a good question. G asks, the majority of game mechanics are players succeeds in roll equals GM gives answer. What tips do you have for giving your players information in interesting ways? That's cool. That's a cool question. And I do this because you've all pointed it out. But it's not something I think about. Use your senses. So if you think about it in like movies and TV shows, right? When the good guys find the bad guy, what happens? The bad guy monologues. And a monologue is exposition, right? It is a person telling the audience what's happening. And the trope is the villain monologues and the heroes kill him before he finishes the monologue, right? Because no one likes a monologue. So don't exposit all the information. Don't like just say, yes, you find this and this means this and here's all the things. Like in our latest game of Vaesen, our Mundus Novus campaign, I stated things that were all facts, but they were designed to allow the player to draw their own conclusion. Right? Like, there were things that were a little suspicious, things that were not suspicious, but they were designed in a way that would lead the character to decide for themselves that the person they were looking into was not nefarious and was in fact just a normal person. Now, I could have just said, yeah, you roll investigation, you search through her things, everything looks on the up and up, she seems like a regular good person. But instead, I kind of explained through things and gave like added detail about like the mundanity of like her books and other things, while also like giving more depth to the character itself, to the NPC itself, thus like drawing the player in to be like, okay, it looks like nothing's here, but not like it looks like nothing's here in a suspicious kind of way, right? But use your senses. Not everything, and like describe. That's the thing. Is like you succeed. GM gives answer. Is boring. Like, use your, like, how did they? What were they doing? Take the context of the action. Were they searching in a book? Were they, uncovering clues at a crime scene? Were they delving in a tomb? And then also take into account the character itself, right? Like, if I, we'll use the Mundus Novus game because that's what we're talking about right now. G's character is a private investigator. Melissa's character is an erudite, bookish transcendentalist. So, like, yeah, they can both roll investigate to try to find the thing, but the way I'm going to frame what they find is based on who they are, right? So the way that G's character looks for things is going to be like an officer would look for things, right? Like a police, very like methodically looking for something, very dusting for fingerprints, looking for specific things, right? Whereas the bookish nerd, they're gonna look at the whole thing and they're gonna find like not the thing that like the private eye is gonna find the things that stick out, right? As things that are like, oh, this is wrong, this is not how this should be done, right? Kind of thing. But like the bookish nerd's gonna find things that they find are interesting, right? Like they may completely look over something in favor of looking at books, and then I'm gonna put weird things in books, or I'm gonna find, and then you don't have to like describe like. You don't have to exposit the whole thing. You can find like, oh yeah, you found a book, and in the book it's about subject X. But on page 296, this little dog-eared tab at the top of it, and you can see that they've written in the margins something, and they've underlined a paragraph here, and the paragraph talks about something, and so now that knows that NPC has this book. Dog-eared that page because they found this interesting, which means they're looking into this. Now I need to look into this, right? So yeah, explain around it. Like if you know the answer, explain around it and then tie it back to the actual character that is looking for the answer. I find that's a more interesting way to do things. And then it takes work, and I'm not good at it. But I'm trying to get better at it, is frame things in a way that allows the player to draw their own conclusion. Because whether they draw the correct conclusion or not, they still drew a conclusion. And even if you say this NPC is a good person, like if you know that, and they drew the conclusion that they are a bad person, now there's a role-playing opportunity where they're going to confront that person and then they're going to have egg on their face because they're just a regular good person. Or, you know, if they think the bad guy's a good guy, same kind of thing. Cool. I think that is it. So unless perfect timing, you wanted to keep listening, but you got to head out. This is the end. Perfect timing. It's 9 o'clock my time, 1 hour in. So yeah, that is it for this month's Ask a Lich. As I said, keep an eye on the YouTube space and the Twitter space. I'm posting out when the old episodes are being released publicly. So go check those out if you have not seen them already. Get in the Discord, join the community, join the conversation. Yeah, that's I think that's all I got. That's all I got. Keep an eye on the blogs too. We're getting the website back up and running. I'm blogging. I got 3 in the works based on October 2023's Ask a Lich episodes. So I'll be breaking down questions as we go. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you learned something. Hope you had some cool takeaways. Let me know in the comments down below what questions you have for next time. And that's all I got, friends. So I will see you next time. From all of us to you guys, bye-bye. I don't have a button. I'm just going to hang out here. I forgot to set my buttons up. I'll edit this part out. We'll see. Maybe. Bye.